most importantly, I want to thank these very courageous people who are with me, who want to work, who are employable, who have done everything right in terms of their job search, but are struggling right now because unemployment insurance for them has ended. These statistics are pretty dramatic. On December 28th, because Congress couldn't do what it should have done, there are 1.3 million Americans who lost their unemployment insurance, including 20,000 military veterans. Another 1.9 million Americans are expected to lose their unemployment insurance in the first 6 months of 2014. Every week, another 72,000 Americans will lose their unemployment insurance. It will cost us 240,000 jobs initially, and even more as the year goes on. And what people don't seem to appreciate is that every dollar of unemployment insurance goes right into the economy. $1.50 is then spent in the economy, and that's why the hit is so great in terms of the number of jobs lost. Now, what makes this particularly damning is the fact that in the history of this country since the Great Depression, unemployment benefits have always been extended by the Congress of the United States when unemployment was over 7%. The only times that it has not, and it has been actually extended 14 times, the only times it has not have been 3 times since 2011 when the Republicans took control of the House. Now, look at these people who want to work. A number of them are over the age of 55. 1.7 million Americans over the age of 55 are unemployed, and it's taking them, on average, 45.8 weeks to find a job. So 26 weeks doesn't cut it. For Americans who have worked their entire life, have become unemployed in large part because the financial institutions in this country became too greedy and caused the implosion that took place on Wall Street and then catapulted so many people out of their homes and lost the value of their homes and their personal wealth. So it is imperative that Congress act. The Senate has blocked efforts to consider this extension 3 times in just the last 5 weeks. There's some talk that, we don't want to do this. And some of my colleagues have said things like, it would do a disservice to the workers to extend their unemployment benefits. Look at these people. Would it be a disservice to them to help them make their rent payments or pay their mortgages? Another one said, if we extend unemployment benefits, it will prolong unemployment. The facts don't support that. The facts support when you give people the opportunity to continue to look for work and allow them the benefits of unemployment, they do find employment. It does help the economy. That money goes directly into the economy, so it helps retain the jobs that are out there as well. So I'm now going to introduce to you the people that really can tell this story. These are a lot of numbers. They're pretty compelling numbers. But the stories really tell us from a human perspective what's at stake. These people are not numbers. They're human beings with real life experiences that are straining their ability to continue to survive. First, let me introduce to you Nancy Guzun. She received her last unemployment check on January 7th. Nancy?
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Speier, and also thank you all for being here. My name is Nancy Gazan, and I am a 61-year-old unemployed person who is greatly affected by the non-action by Congress and not extending the unemployment benefits, emergency unemployment benefits. I have worked all my life, struggled a lot of that time too, and this struggle is probably about the worst I've ever been through. Just to briefly describe what happened to me, I was employed by VWR International and was thrilled to be with that company until they decided to close the Brisbane facility where I was a customer care expert, and they laid us off. They had a massive layoff because they decided to build a warehouse and move their operations to Visalia, California. What happened then is I did get another job within a month, but that job ended after the company that I was working for on a contract basis. They could not hire me permanently because there was no work. So since December of 2012, I have been unemployed. I have been looking for work, actively looking for work. I come from a family that values work ethics. I grew up in the Midwest. My family were part of the VFW and also believed in the American way of you work, you don't take handouts. And believe me, extending my unemployment benefits is certainly not a handout. Currently, right now, I have no income. This layoff, being unemployed, has affected me not only financially, but spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. You know, I've been on a number of interviews, have not been able to land a job, even though I'm really qualified and interview well, but it hasn't happened. And that makes me a lot of times doubt myself. Fortunately, I have friends who will hold me up. I only have maybe a month's more of savings. But I'm luckier than most because I don't have a family. There are people out there who both parents are out of a job and they have kids to support. There's only me. But then again, I will be possibly out on the street after a month because my savings, maybe I'll have till March, and then my savings will be exhausted. So please, I am one of the millions here. I'm not alone. I'm one of the millions here that really needs this help. It is not going to cause unemployment to be, you know, it's going to help us, and it's going to help the economy. So that's my story, and you know, if there's no action taken, I'm not sure I could even survive this, and that's coming from a real place. So thank you for allowing me to tell my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. 2 points I'd like to make. Nancy spoke about being with VWR. VWR is a company that was in Brisbane for decades. They moved to Visalia because the company was going to reap all kinds of tax credits. Now, we exposed that, and the legislature has now changed that law. But here's what collateral damage looks like when a very employable person who worked there for over 8 years is just discarded because the company recognized that they had an opportunity to make more money by moving to another area. Nancy also mentioned the fact that she doesn't have children. When we extend unemployment insurance, it keeps 2.5 million Americans and 600,000 children out of poverty. So this is a cycle that if we don't address this, we are going to see our homeless shelters exploding in terms of the demand. I just spent the evening in 2 homeless shelters in San Mateo County last night. We are better than this as a country. And these people deserve our support so that they can, in fact, find additional work. Now I'm going to ask Debbie Wales, who got her last check on December 28th, to tell her story.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you for having me here to share my story. I have been unemployed for over a year now. I was first impacted in 2008. I have been working for 35 plus years, and I have always paid into the system. And I have always worked very hard, and since 2005, I've been a contractor here in the Valley. And as a contractor, I'm not sure if you're aware, but you have to pay your own benefits. And as a result, you don't get paid benefits at all. You don't get paid sick leave, you don't get paid vacation, and you don't get paid health care as well. So I've not only been impacted because I'm not getting any more of this benefit for the income of unemployment, but I've had to pay out my own health care benefits for the last 6 years. And that health care and benefit has depleted all of my funds. And because I've been on unemployment this past year, and because I was also impacted in 2008, when the market fell, I lost most of my funds. And I've lost all of my funds this past year. And I'm depleted now. And I too, like Nancy, have been unfortunate in that I can't find a job. I'm 55 now. And I have been searching and searching and searching. And it's a difficult market out there. There's a lot of discrimination out there as well as far as age. And it's hard out there. And I would just like to say that, you know, we can't prove it, but it's real.
Explain some of the things that they say.
Some of the things that they say, and it's a real thing. When you get in there, they're very kind to you, and at the end, they'll tell you something about, can you fit into our culture? You know, they'll say, hey, you've got all the skills, we love your background. However, maybe they'll say to you, you're overqualified. How can anybody ever be overqualified for a job? Wouldn't you say that's great that you're overqualified? How can anybody ever be overqualified for a job? But the reality is that you're too old for us. You don't fit into our culture. And that culture is, we're young. You don't have enough energy for us. And that, you know, they don't say it to you, but what they're saying is that you don't fit into our culture. And the way they say is, you know, kindly say, you know, they'll tell you about their culture, and, you know, they'll just say something about, I don't know, you know, our culture is hip, you know, can you fit into a young group of people? And then, you know, then you're kind of on your way. And that's it. So, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mark Sutter, one of our younger unemployed, but very employable, and he will tell his story.
Hello, public. My name is Mark Sutter. First off, I'd like to thank you, Jackie, for giving me the opportunity to speak and represent the public. I'd like to touch on a few things that the older women have touched on, and that's being overqualified. I, as a young person, have actually been told that as well. But what I had told the company is that I am willing to take a step backwards because I'm overqualified, because of how well I see the company growing and where I see them going in the future. So for somebody to tell you that you're overqualified is just an excuse, in my opinion. Because if you have the skill set and you have the ability to do the job and do the job well, I think everybody deserves a chance. Nobody should be, the word I'm looking for I can't find. Discriminated against, thank you. And, just a little bit about my experience and what it means for EDD to just take my unemployment away without fair warning. I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, you're not going to be receiving any more money. Some people might say, you had a warning, it's in the news. But what you got to realize is that not everybody does pay specific attention, and I know I should because I'm currently unemployed and I should be paying close attention to what's going on in EDD, but at the same time, that warning still wasn't enough for people to be able to survive. Now with me getting cut off, I'm not going to have enough money to pay rent coming up. I'm not going to have enough money for my car payment. And the reason why this is when I was a senior account executive selling enterprise IT solutions, I was making very good money. And I had the money to afford and lock myself in on a lease paying, $1,400 a month and making a $500 car payment. And what EDD did for me was help me keep my head above water. And yes, I am gasping for air, but I'm making it. And it's helping me find a job that's going to be a good fit and help me succeed. It's not going to get me to go out and just get any job. I want to get a job that I'm worth and that I think me and every other person that's unemployed deserve. Thank you.
Mark, excuse me, actually is representative of a whole new group of unemployed in this country. They're the young unemployed. The number of young people, graduates from college, who aren't finding jobs is very, very high. And the underemployment is the highest it has been in decades. It has jumped from 34% to 44%. So young graduates are not going for the job that they've been trained for, but taking a lesser job just to be able to pay the student debt that they have, which is anywhere around $27,000 to $30,000. So for all that we have imprinted in our young people that you need to go to college because you'll make more money, and you do. You make, on average, the median income is $57,000 with a college education and only $27,000 with a high school education. But in the end, if the young people in this country can't get employed, and it's very high right now for young people, it's hovering around 7.9%, then they're going to end up taking lesser jobs, and it's going to affect their whole work experience for their entire lives. Our next speaker is Francisco Chavez, and he received his last check on December 28th.
So my name is Francisco Chavez. I've been working for over 15 years in the industry of client services. I remember back a long time ago, I'd be able to look for employment very easily. I'd go to the company, ask the secretary if they have any administrative positions open, and they inform me. And I'd pretty much meet the manager like the same day, and the next day would, quick interview, we would get hired. Nowadays, everything's done on computers, and it's more like filling out a job application online, meeting another representative and doing a 3 to 5 panel interview. And the competition is like so fierce, it's very hard to get a job. Like I've been unemployed for over a year looking for work, and it's very tough out there. And my ED is already exhausted, so right now I have a little bit of savings left. and I barely have to stretch out the money just to feed myself. What's helped me a lot in the past is, since looking for work, is attending like the various one-stops. Like a good example would be the one in San Francisco, the one in San Mateo County, where I've learned how to improve my skill set while looking for employment full-time. Like say for example, resume writing. Who knew that you had to do your resume and then tailor it to each job position? That takes a lot of time and effort. In addition to that, like learning how to improve your 60-second speech, learning how to describe yourself. So things like that are very important. But if EDD would allow the benefits to continue, it would at least give me it would give me more of a fighting chance to work again and not be homeless in the streets. So for me, this is very important, is to have the extension, at least, the extension extended. Thank you.
And our final speaker is Renita Sanders, who will run out of unemployment benefits in early February and be one of the 1.9 million Americans who will lose their benefits in the first half of this year. It's important to point out that if you look at these figures here, in the first 6 months of this year, 500,000 Californians are going to lose their unemployment benefits. Renita?
Thank you, Jackie. I'm honored and privileged to have this opportunity to express my concerns. My name is Renita Sanders, and I have been unemployed since July 26th of 2013. And as a single parent of one, it is very difficult. It's hard. I know, as I told myself, I said, you hear that in order to make more money, you need to educate yourself. So I said, let me go back to school. And I did that, received my bachelor's in 2011. And I was making a decent salary. And however, I have put out, numerous amounts of resumes. I have received some calls, but a few of them told me that I was overqualified. And right now, unlike Nancy says she has about a month worth of income. Savings, I'm sorry. And I have depleted my savings. And unfortunately, I had to withdraw money from my 401k to make ends meet. After this week, I will receive one more check in the amount of $450. I have a mortgage. Again, I have my son. And if you don't work, you don't eat. So just, with all of that being said, I'm hoping that Congress will lift the extension for unemployment, because there are some who, I know there are some, they said, that took advantage and abused the system, but unlike myself, I want to work. I enjoy working because I like having things. And so I don't know what I'm going to do as far as my mortgage payments. There were some things that I had to discontinue as far as like my homeowner's insurance, because I just couldn't afford it. And being employed, we need to have some type of income in order to find work, to find employment. I need to pay PG&E to keep my internet going, and I need an income for my internet to keep that going. Also, if I need to interview, I need to put gas in my car. So right now it's a difficult situation, but I'm just hoping, like I say, I don't know what I'm going to do after next week, but I'm just hoping that Congress will extend the benefits for those who are looking and willing and determined, to work.
Thank you very much. Well, these are the faces of the unemployed in this country. These are hardworking Americans. Most of them have long experience, years of experience employed in this country, and they want a chance to continue to work. in areas in which they have expertise. They want to make their mortgage payments. They want to pay their rent. They want to put gas in their cars. They want to be able to feed their kids. Unemployment benefits are there precisely for these people. And it is incumbent on Congress to take the steps necessary to extend the unemployment benefits like we have done historically every time unemployment rates reach 7%, every time since the Great Depression. We are in this position because of the greed of Wall Street and the implosion of the housing market. It's not their fault. It's Congress's fault for repealing Glass-Steagall. We owe it to them. We owe it to each and every one of you.